Hello, everyone. I'm Huang Jinghui, a PhD candidate from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. My research mainly relates with the sociology of education, employ the sociology theories for emerging conceptual frameworks and educational issues, especially in parenting of different social classes. Recently, I'm working on project on intensive mothering in different social classes. The first aspect of the term mothering is gender-based, with the aims to position women's role and identities in social institutions, contesting or making dialogue to the gender ideologies hidden in the discourse of policy and social norms. The second aspect of mothering is actor-oriented, refer to how mothers act their mothering in different historical and cultural settings, and they are all associated with lived experience, encompassing how the practice of child rearing influences mothers' everyday life and their children's education, spiritual development, and their health. The third aspect is that the moral and emotional dimensions are reinforced in the concepts of mothering, in which mothers are making sense of moral and emotions in caring and nurturing. Finally, the concept of mothering is historically and culturally located. In other words, the concept of mothering is molded by the contextualized social systems. So the concept of intensive mothering is a major discussed issue in the scholarship of mothering in social sciences. In this model, mothers are involved in the heavy consumption of time, energy, and money during child rearing. Intensive mothering is closely tied with gender ideology and social class culture. For mothers adopting the extensive mothering or intensive mothering, the new focus of relevant studies accordingly has been transformed into the extensive capacity of mobilizing the multiple resources from the social world they connect with outside, from the previous concern on those from the family inside. So the social agency of mothers who become actors capable to negotiate and reshape the mainstream ideology for mothering will be discussed further with the changing social reality. Recently, there is one theme, one topic to guide my discussions about mothering, which is intensive mothering and market culture, especially the practice of mother in educational markets and educational competitions. The contemporary culture forged by the market forces influences the contemporary mothering profoundly. As previously mentioned, mothering is culturally produced in everyday life. The market economy creates the script of mothering by imitating the urge for purchasing, invoking the aspirations and the insecurity of child rearing. First, as an influential driving factors of intensive mothering, the media constructs ideal images of mothers and the associated judgment standards of good mothers. Second, the consumption surrounding child rearing is believed by mothers, which is believed to benefit exploiting their children's unlimited potentials in consumerism society. This financial absorbing gradually draws the underpainting of the contemporary intensive mothering. The competition of mothering involves into the competition of purchasing abilities of mothers. Third, this purchasing is the expressions of mother's role in the moral economic of concern mothering. To display the good mothers is to buy, which could be one of the phenomena documented and studied in current studies, with the reference of inspiring frameworks from the critical social theories on consumerism and the current cornerstone work, such as those reviewed and discussed in Alison Pugh's work. So why mothers deeply believe or highly rely on the market, rely on the economic means to cultivate their children? That's my questions. Here, I would try to use social theories of Gilles Debord, a French sociologist, to analyze the consumption culture in intensive mothering in Asian educational markets. La société du spectacle is French. but in English it's called spectacle society, refers to a model of society based on visual perceptions and artifacts, constructed by the abundance of good and electronic medias. This concept is also employed to reflect on the alienations of individuals and the alienation of society as a whole in a contemporary consumer society. So what is spectacle? It refers to anything that can be presented in symbolic form, such as an outwardly visible image. Spectacle is a non-real visible thing, but usually make people understand the world with illusions. What you see is real is the notion that spectacle tries to convince individual members of society. Another construct of critical theory of spectacle society is to help members of society understand the seductive nature of consumer and media culture. It attempts to offer the individual in it and the possibility of reflection with practical implications. In current stage, what I discovered is that first, there is a spectacle commercial market for education. The consumer perception of educational product consumers is often influenced by silent commercial logic. The various promises and guarantees make to those in need in the advertisement of tutoring institutions have made many families willing to invest large sum of money in tutoring institutions. And these institutions use information from teachers as well as distributing leaflets at school gates, continue to attract more and more students to sign up for the tutoring classes. At the same time, working with the relevant educational institution to get support of the local government to legitimize the tutoring agency status is an even more powerful way to sell themselves and attract students. The commercial spectacle has been created a new conception that the educational service that require payment are always better than those that are free, and the logic of the market has taken hold. Commercialized tutorial tuitions helps the educated people to build a renewed sense of educational reality with themselves. This recognition leads to modest belief that the educational deficit in public education institution can only be compensated by the acquisition of the new educational services in the market, and that will whether the lack is real and whether the need to pay for educational services in the market is real is not a concern. Mothers who are actively joining the shadow education or the tutoring educational market race game may appear to be active, but in a sense, they are no more than passive receivers. Second, education is misunderstood as an external need in the spectacle society of educational markets. The sellers and the exporters of the commodity are given the name teacher, and the name teacher is given out with the distributions of the educational commodities. The purchasers of educational services is immersed in a spectacle of education rather than in the actual education. In the spectacle society of education, education in the name of self-development holds hostage to all individuals who want to be financially rewarded through the educational services. The need for education does not stem from an internal, non-economic drive, but is driven by the invisible hand from the market. The spectacle society of education envelops individual, disguising external needs as their internal needs for education. Third, mothers are purchasing education with quantity but not quality. In the field of basic education, consumers of educational goods, mothers with ability to pay the consumer or the consumption of educational commodities, they have means to pay, confirm their own survival in competitions by consuming their own survival in the competition, while at the same time they themselves are prey to the logic of capital in their consumption. The logic of capital is placed on them. What this spectacle society tries to convince mothers individually of is that the effort of work and the purchase of the effort can lead to upward mobility of their children in educational systems. As consumption progress, the obstacles to this upward mobility in society become clearer. The sheer volume of educational competition is not, in fact, responsible for the real social upward mobility, but rather for the distribution of destiny-changing rewards as a game of consumer abundance. In a nutshell, the social theories of spectacle society can rewrite the topic of consumerism in education from a sociological perspective. I have introduced my topics, and thanks for your listening, and see you